Hey everybody, Shane Van Fleet, Western Illinois, Southeast Iowa, Loveland sales manager. Yeah, follow up to David's video this morning. I came out here to the research farm at Monmouth and wanted to talk a little bit about the agronomic benefits of how we're managing this residue and a follow up to Derek's video, Dowdy talking about, taking advantage of this warmth. As I sit here and look at this field here, there's some obvious numbers we can throw out there. If we raise 250 bushel corn here, right? We have 7 ton of stover per acre out here. Of that 7 ton of stover, half of that is carbon, right? So 3.5 ton of carbon roughly out here in this residue to manage. Beyond the carbon piece, there's a lot of fertilizer out here. Just doing some rough math, we've got anywhere from $100 to $120 if you figure in the sulfur and the micronutrients probably out here tied up in this residue, right? When we think about the extra cost this year to do farming and to do business, and we think about everybody cutting back on P&K because of prices, I can't think of a cheaper form of fertilizer than getting this turned back into plant food as quickly as possible this fall for next year. Just roughly thinking through it, we got about $80 worth of potassium out here right now, right? In this 7,000 pounds of stover. We got anywhere from $25 to $30 probably of phosphorus, sulfur, micronutrients, right? Things that we can get turned back into plant food. But it was brought to my attention by Matt Godecki the other day that we're really dry. It's laying on top of dry dirt. Are we getting, even with these temperatures, are we getting any microbial activity out of that dry soil? Well, I believe we're getting some, but there's no doubt some moisture would help. The cool thing about extract, when I think about putting extract out here, is we don't need the moisture. We're putting the biocatalyst, on that stover and starting immediately. We're also not dependent on temperature. We all know we can turn this under today, but tomorrow or next week, these temperatures can change and everything slows down drastically, and it just sits there buried up at some point this fall till next spring till everything wakes back up. So the biocatalyst and extract is going to start that immediately. It's going to work through any temperature, right? The secretions of those microbes is what we're putting out here. We're strongly recommending a couple gallon of nitrogen, 32 with that. The whole reason for that, right? I think we get a couple things out of it, but part of the reason is we know that we need carbon and nitrogen to start down the breakdown of anything. So trying to balance a little bit of that carbon to nitrogen ratio will speed that up immensely. Also, we believe it's helping stick to this residue, right, as it lands. So, guys, again, when I think about this, guys wanting to cut back on phosphorus. Derek's done a great job of showing us the importance of phosphorus early in these plants. How are we going to cut back on phosphorus, get more phosphorus out there if we don't manage this residue, right? So I'd personally rather not turn all this black, as I've seen what management can do. We're vastly increasing our organic matter with these carbon products and these biocatalyst products and the Titans of the world. We're seeing that happen without releasing a bunch of carbon back into the atmosphere by turning it over. But we can get a lot of good out of it. There's some other benefits I talked about the other day on the video or on the sales call. When I walk around out here and I look at some of these leaves, they are just loaded up with disease, right? We do a good job of protecting that leaf up, but we all know below that, we don't touch a lot of that leaf. These things are definitely loaded up with tar spot, gray leaf, and of course, southern rust. And as I said the other day, this is gonna tie up in this matter, and it's gonna be here next year in this soil, right? So by breaking down that residue faster, right, we're gonna get rid of that disease that much quicker. And again, thinking about the cost, right, for even at my piss poor marketing skills, you're looking at 3 to 4 bushel of corn to turn around and give $25 worth of phosphorus back to that crop next year, and and you know, and potentially 80 pounds of potassium back to that crop. So for money well spent, return on investment, we all know the importance of that. Gosh, I just can't see where there's a better dollar spent than getting out here now. Soils are still dry. Let's again work on it from the top down. We're gonna get some moisture and it's gonna work from the bottom up later. But if it turns off cool, we're only gonna be relying on the technologies that we have today to work on that. So think about that. You seen in that video the other day the importance of carbon for soybeans. They're producing their own nitrogen. They're a carbon hog was exactly, I believe, the quote that the gentleman used in the video. Half of this stover out here is carbon, right? But it's not usable. It's not helping our organic matter. It's not really turning our soils into live biology as quick until we get it broke down and get it in the soil and turned back into plant food. So think about that application extract. Don't forget your 32 with that. You know, this field, if it's going to corn on corn, so critically important to deal with the amount of fusarium that's out here in this residue and manage it so it doesn't overwinter the inoculum of that plant. If it's going to beans, I want that 80 pounds of potassium for next year's bean crop, right? You do not want to come in here, get less of a stand. We don't even take that into consideration, how much it improves our stand, get more plants up, getting that 80 pounds of potassium back available to that plant, get that carbon in the soil. We all know the benefits of that. We all know it's helping with our organic matter, soil health. Everything starts to take care of itself, but we got to start with the extract. So if you got any questions, reach out to me or Derek. Be glad to walk you guys through some of the benefits of this with your growers, but don't miss the opportunity. Return on investment's everything. I can't think of a better return on fertilizer investment this year than our extract. Thanks, guys.